Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Wednesday, is it today? I'm losing track. Um, so, um, this is the first time I've been live here on the page for a week or so. So, those of you who have been following along will know that for a month or two I was doing daily lives, daily positive steps that you could take and implement to help improve your business, and I had loads of fun doing that. The reason it kind of stopped was because I kind of ran out of steam and I fancied changing things up a bit and just doing something a little bit different. So instead, I'm going to be doing like a live little mini training each week based on the blog post that I am sharing that week. So if you saw the page earlier in the week, you will know that I shared a blog post all about the number one reason why your business isn't making more money. So today I'm coming live just to kind of go through the highlights of that post and share the best bits with you. So hi to whoever's watching live. Nice to see someone here. Give me a hello. So let's dive in. So first of all, I think most of us have experienced or perhaps are experiencing or often experience that sense of I feel like my business should be making more money. I wish my business was making more money. Why isn't my business making more money? I think it's a pretty common feeling for most business owners at one point or another. And as part of my role as a business coach, I work with a lot of women who are trying to get more money coming into their business by getting more clients, by raising their prices perhaps, by improving their sales technique, by improving their marketing. Hey Katie, nice to see you. And so, there tends to be one or two key things that are often generally at the root of why things aren't working, why what you're doing isn't working, and why that money isn't coming in. And what I'm talking about today is probably the ultimate, and it's something that rarely gets really covered online. People kind of talk around it and we are all aware of it, but it doesn't really, I don't see it very often get properly sort of covered in depth. So that's what I'm going to do a little bit of today. And the thing that I'm talking about is the customer journey. So first of all, let me talk about what the customer journey is, because it's called lots of other things. I've heard it referred to as sales funnel. A sales funnel is essentially what I'm talking about, in fact. But it's given so many different names, and I think a lot of people are kind of a little bit hazy on what this thing is. So I wanted to kind of talk about it, because actually, without a decent awareness of the customer journey, it is almost impossible to create consistent sales and to be able to get consistent money coming into your business, because this is essentially the formula to doing that. So if you're not aware of that, then it's absolutely going to impact your ability to get more money coming into your business. So let's talk customer journey. First of all, what is the customer journey? The customer journey is, as it sounds, the journey that you have to take people on in order for them to be ready to buy from you. Okay. I'm going to give you an example of this. So when I first started my business, back in 2016, I already, before I even actually left my job, I already had my first 2 or 3 clients ready to go. That meant it was great that by the time I quit my job, I had a business there to kind of step straight into. Now, this didn't happen because I was already some kind of business whiz, sales guru or anything like that. I had still a huge amount to learn, and still do have a huge amount to learn in both of those areas. The reason it happened was because I focused, first of all, on a specific group of people. And those first clients came from that group of people. And that group were my friends, my family, my colleagues. I spoke to people at work, I spoke to friends and family, I let people know what I was doing, and as a result of that, I got my first few clients. And this is because that group of people already knew me, they already liked me, they already trusted me, and so they felt happy in, putting their faith in me, and becoming a client of mine, because they already knew who I was, they already knew about my work, they already, knew about my ability, my credibility, and all of that stuff. So that's why it was an easy way for me to get clients, because those people were already, if you like, at the end of that customer journey. Because in order for people to buy from you, they first of all need to know that you exist. Then they need to kind of like you enough and feel connected with you enough to hang around. And they need to trust you enough to hand over their money, because we know we're not going to buy something from someone we don't trust. So we need to be, as business owners, we need to be aware of that when we are creating our marketing strategies, when we're creating our sales strategies. And the alternative is this kind of idea of, say for example, I've always been slightly fascinated by the idea of speed dating. Now, my husband and I have been together since we were 19, so this isn't something I've ever had a chance to try, and hopefully will never need to. But I love the idea of it. I always think it sounds quite fun. The idea of going into a room and having these kind of little mini conversations with lots of different people, and getting to know people and seeing if there's that spark, seeing if there's that connection, and then sort of, I guess, taking it from there. Now, what you wouldn't do when you're going to a speed dating event is go along with, an engagement ring in your pocket, ready to spring on the first person that you have a connection with, because there's a big gap between meeting someone, having a connection, and, handing them a ring. There's stuff that has to happen in between, right? And the same is true for selling. So in the same way as you wouldn't go to the speed dating and, the first person you meet, hand them over a ring, you shouldn't be doing that with your marketing either. People need to be wooed. We need to be nurtured. We need to be taken along this journey before we're sold to. And that's why sometimes sales has this reputation for kind of being a bit icky and a bit like, ugh. It's because when it's done wrong, that's how it feels. Just in the same way as if you went to a speed dating event and some guy whipped out a ring after 5 minutes, you'd be like, whoa, what a weirdo. That's a bit sleazy, And it's the same thing with sales. When we try and kind of bam sales on people who don't know who we are yet and haven't got, aren't ready for that, it feels awkward and icky and a bit sleazy. And that's why there is this whole kind of image of sales, because so many people are getting it wrong and so many people are doing this. So if you have that awareness of, no, I need to be taking people on this journey, and then you can start to kind of look at your audience and kind of go, well, where, break your audience down to see, well, who are at that first stage where, they've only just sort of come across me and, I need to warm them up a bit. Who are my kind of really warm audience who already trust me and are ready to hand over their money? And because the way you would treat those two separate groups are going to be very different. So let me kind of break it down a little bit. First of all, let's talk about, that very first step of the journey. So helping people to get to know you, helping people to know you exist in the first place. So what are the kind of activities that you can be doing for this stage of the journey? And it's helpful to do this because then this is what is going to formulate your marketing strategy. You need to make sure that you have activities going on to encourage each of those different stages. So let's talk, I've got notes here, but in case you're wondering why I keep looking down. So let's talk about first, that kind of first stage of helping people know you, helping people, first of all, know that you exist and then kind of know you a bit. So what kind of content can you be creating? What kind of things can you be doing to help this happen? So let's talk your brand story. Your brand story is like a key piece of marketing content that allows people to know you, because that is the sole purpose really of your brand story. Your brand story is saying, hey, this is me. you know, this is my background, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, this is, you know, what I'm passionate about, this is why, you know, here are the skills that I have, you know, this is all the kind of core stuff that you would, you know, imagine that conversation that you're having, you know, say going back to our speed dating event, you know, it's that kind of, you know, getting to know you type stuff. And your brand story is exactly that. Your brand story is basically your introduction. It's you kind of going, hi, my name is Colette, I come from, you know, and essentially that's a key piece of content when it comes to helping people know you. What else is there? So things like your about page, your social media bios, all of this is, you know, content that you're creating so that you can give people quick information on who you are and what you're about, so that people can get to know you. Okay. Other content that will help people get to know you and help people find you is things like blog posts, podcasts, and like video content, perhaps, if that's your kind of main sort of content marketing channel. Then this is all content that you're putting out there that people can find as a way of discovering you and getting to know you better. So even if a blog post isn't specifically about you, it's going to give people an indication of who you are. You know, your writing style, or for example, your podcast, you know, just hearing you talk is going to give people an indication as to who you are, what kind of person you are, you know, what your kind of style is. And it's going to give people an immediate reaction as to whether they feel a connection with you or whether they don't. And of course your social media posts and things like that. All of this is content which is going to help people to discover you in the first place and to get an initial sense of who you are. So we're kind of likening this to that first kind of speed dating conversation, if you like, if I'm going to continue this analogy. Let me know if this is all making sense, by the way. Is this you know, is this are the light bulbs going off here? Is this helping? Okay, so that's the first stage. The second stage is once someone has discovered you, once they've kind of gone, oh, okay, yeah, this interested to know a bit more. What happens next? So first of all, you have to give people a next step. So once someone's discovered you, they've perhaps read your blog post, or they've come across one of your social media posts, or they've you know, listened to you share your brand story, and they've kind of gone, oh, this is interesting. Yeah, I feel a connection with this person. I'd like to kind of stick around. You need to give people a next step. You need to give people a way to do that, because otherwise it's kind of like, oh, well, this is really interesting, but I don't really know what to do next. And so I guess that's that then. Interesting story. See ya, you know. So this is why it's important to kind of think of it as a journey. So what do you want that next step of the journey to be? So examples of next steps might be something as simple as encouraging them to have a conversation with you. So it could be asking them to comment, asking them for their feedback. It could be asking them to like your social media page so that they see more of your posts coming up, so that they can get to know you better. It could be asking people to kind of share content and that kind of stuff as well. So they're kind of like little just mini next steps that people can take to encourage them to kind of stick around in your world and to get to know you better. So then what next? Now that they're sticking around, you need to start to kind of build that relationship and to kind of nurture it. First of all, it's really important that you are talking to your ideal clients. Okay, so when you're thinking about this journey and you're thinking about the content that you're creating, also be thinking about who you're actually trying to attract. Hey, Sophie, nice to see you. Who is it that you are actually talking to? So, I mean, we all know the importance of getting really clear on who our ideal clients are. Those are the people that you're talking to. Those are the people that you want to know, to get to know you, and those are the people you want to build that relationship with. Now, something that actually helps a lot with this is creating quite kind of polarizing content that's actually going to make those ideal clients go, oh yeah, this is my person, but make other people kind of perhaps go, no, this isn't for me. And that can feel quite difficult, because our natural instinct is to try and attract everyone and to try and please everyone. But in the case of marketing, that isn't actually what you're trying to do. Marketing isn't about creating content that everyone loves. Because what happens is, especially online, where there is such a massive amount of content, you end up just disappearing among all the other voices because it's vague and it's general. And if you're trying to talk to everyone, that's all you can ever be. So actually, marketing, good marketing, is about being quite polarizing and being, I mean, you'll think about the brands, you know, the massive brands out there, they tend to be often brands that people either love or hate, you know, Coke or Pepsi, Marmite, all of this kind of stuff. And when you can create that, actually, that is good marketing, because what you're doing is you're creating a clear, loud, specific voice for your ideal clients that they can see and that stands out, and you are making sure that everyone else knows that you're not for them, and that actually is impactful marketing when you can do that. So polarizing content is going to help people to feel that connection with you. Speaking specifically to your ideal client, so talking about the you know, the topics that you know they are going to resonate with, that they are going to recognize and have something to say about, have opinions on themselves. Having conversations, encouraging conversations. So anything that you can do once you've got someone in your world, once you've got perhaps someone you know, who's liked your page or who's commented on a blog post or on a social media post, keeping that conversation going. You know, this is just, you know, it's the same as any other relationship that you're building outside of business. Going back to the speed dating, you know, you like someone, they like you. What do? You have a conversation. You keep that conversation going, and you get to know each other better. And it's exactly the same when you are taking people on this customer journey. So conversations are a really key and powerful part of building those relationships and taking people further down that journey towards, you know, trusting you enough to buy from you. Okay, so what's the next step? So people, they're in your world, they're starting to get to know you, they're feeling that connection with you. What's the next step? So this is where you want to start. You know, now we're like wanting to really build trust. We're wanting to deepen that connection further. So next steps. You know, I already like you. I'm already, you know, I've liked your page. I perhaps followed you on Instagram. I've commented on a couple of your blog posts. Now what? I want more. So common next steps here. Number one, email. Getting someone to subscribe to your email list is a great way to then be able to really nurture that relationship. If you can be appearing regularly in someone's inbox, then you're going to be front of mind. You're gradually kind of giving them value, building trust, building that relationship. And that is why email is such a powerful part of any marketing strategy. Email is still, you know, outperforms social media hugely still. Even though for years now people have been saying email is dead, you know, all of this, it just isn't true. Email outperforms when it comes to ROI, so return on investment. Email is outperforming social when it comes to reach. Email outperforms social every single time. So do not underestimate email. You send me off on a rant now about email, but I'll rein myself in. So email is a fantastic way to give a next step to give people. So if you don't already have an email list that you're building, I strongly suggest start thinking about it now. It's never too early. You know, the second you start your business, start building that email list, because your email list is going to be one of your most valuable assets as a business owner. So email, absolutely. Another great way to kind of nurture that, to build those relationships, are things like Facebook groups, because what you've got there is a community. People feel it's a safer space. It isn't just a Facebook page, but it's more of a community. It's a great place to keep those conversations going, to get to know people better, to help people get to know you better. So anywhere where you can build a community like a Facebook group. So, you know, groups on LinkedIn and so on and so forth, but I think especially Facebook groups work really, really well for this. And that's where you can then start to build trust. And this is the journey. This is the journey that you're taking people on. And of course, that final step is the sale. Now, sales it's funny, we often kind of lump sales and marketing together. They're not the same thing. You know, marketing is about building those relationships. It's about attracting the right people, nurturing them, building the relationships. It's about, you know, getting your message out there, helping people understand what you do and how you can help them, helping people see the value of that. It isn't sales. And I think this is another thing where people fall down, is people kind of focus on this marketing side, but they forget the selling, and they think that if they get to the point where they've got this community of people who love them and trust them, then suddenly they should be making loads of money. But if you're not doing that final step, and if you haven't got that part sorted, you're still not going to be selling, because sales is the final kind of piece in the jigsaw. So make sure that you've got all of those steps of your journey in place. So make sure that you've got activities that are helping people discover you, helping people know that you exist. Make sure that you're doing stuff that helps nurture those relationships, that helps, you know, polarize and make sure that your ideal clients are feeling that connection with you, and that, you know, that others, you know, that you're not just attracting everyone, that you're attracting the right people. Make sure that you're doing stuff that's going to help to build that trust, create that community, and really deepen those relationships. And make sure that you are selling. Make sure that you have a strategy in place to sell. And if you have all of those pieces, then you will make more money. You will start to get more clients. So I hope that was helpful. If you have any follow-up questions, do let me know. And if you are interested in kind of going deeper with this and chatting to me one-on-one, then I am still offering 60-minute strategy calls. We will chat about where your business is. We will kind of dig deep into where you want to be going with your business and the key things that are holding you back, and then we'll come up with some next steps and kind of key focus areas for you so that you can get to that next level. So if you are interested in hopping on a strategy call with me, I will pop a link in the comments and you can book one. Thank you so much for watching with me, watching me this morning. I hope it's been helpful, and I shall be back again next week. Next week I am chatting about IGTV. So we're moving into social media, and I'm chatting about a few different strategies that you can use IGTV to boost your marketing. So come and join me next week for that, and I shall see you then. Take care.